General advice, warning and disclaimer. Opinions, thoughts, research, recommendations and content presented are general advice only. They do not take into account your specific circumstances. Please consult a financial professional before making any investment decisions. For further information on our disclaimers and general advice, please see our website and our PDS. Hi there and welcome to this week's edition of Bulls vs Bears. As per usual, I've got Jonathan Chakadena here. But
hello, everybody. Yep.
Introducing a new member of the team, Richard Nader. He's joined the team here recently. He's our resident US stock expert. And mate, welcome to the podcast. You'll, when it's the last Friday of the month. Obviously, Kai's out on his boat or the yacht, or whatever it is that he goes out to on Friday. So
a little bit cloudy for the boat.
It is a little bit cloudy for the boat, but
sure, it's still nice out there.
It's good for some. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So Rich will be joining us intermittently over the course of I think fours. We get a little bit crowded in here if we had four, but maybe we'll try it out one time. But Rich, we this week no media. I mean, it's
we did a small spots, but no the call.
Yeah, no the call. So
I did the Monday morning, so I had to.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, so I did the nice early Monday morning spot. I talked about gold again. It just keeps making new highs. And what I'm finding as well is that basically all the gold miners are starting to play catch up, and even the dog. I don't want to say it, but yeah, even the small cap, some of the bad miners are
even the crappy miners are playing catch up.
Catching a bid. So
that's a good signal in itself.
Well, it just shows that, and I've seen this before. Basically, if the tail end of a sector is running, the whole thing's in a full bull market.
Yeah. So, well, crypto would be the same. When the shit coins are running, you knew that it was a hyper bull market.
Exactly. So the gold bull market's still running.
Yeah, but you know what? Who would have thought that gold miners would have played catch up? We haven't been saying that for 6 months. So it's been a pretty cruisy week here in the office generally because.
But you did the afternoon as well.
I did the COB.
Was that before or after the Fed?
Yeah, it was on the Wednesday, but it was before the Fed. I basically, thinking back, I just said the market will want confirmation that there's two cuts. It'll probably rally, and then so I nailed it. Actually, it's exactly what happened. So but I was sort of more talking about what we were buying because everyone's panicking a little bit, but there is there's pockets of strength and there's still good stocks. Rich has been picking up quite a few, particularly in the UK market. He's been focused on defence, so which will be trade of the week, and then
hot theme at the moment.
Yeah, it is a hot theme, and obviously Germany. It's the first time since the Second World War that the world has rejoiced Germany increasing their military spending. But they did a big package. So obviously, we'll obviously later in the show, but we'll get to the
we'll chat about it. It is a big shift when Germany says, you want us to increase our army. Is that right?
Yeah, and then you want us to cross Poland to defend the country. That's.
Have shut bad events in the past.
Look. The example, fails to get to my memory, but so generally the theme this week is like everything is fine with the question mark. Fed said they're going to cut twice, but it was a little bit like Bullock. It was a bit hawkish, not hawkish, but it was like. There was 75 different conditions as to why that might happen. Largely got ignored. Feels like the market's pretty exhausted. It rallied initially. We're up 2.5% for the week. And I don't know, that it just lacks a little bit of confidence, I think. And some of the economic numbers are starting to turn in the US as well. Consumer sentiment particularly. And gold just keeps powering. But, I think that's everyone's talking about it now, which that concerns me more than anything else, that everyone's bullish and everyone, like some of these analysts just like they're Kramers of the year, but they love to get bullish at the top of the range. They do it in CSL all the time. Every time it gets to 305 CSL with 310's about the high, everyone calls it to $400, and where are we now? 250. And there's about 3 analysts out there saying that CSL's a buy. So and we're one of them. But and it will be, because that the world's most reliable range trade, that thing. yeah, look, there's a lot going on. Geopolitical, Trump talking to Putin, military spending getting cut and put back on, and then tariffs being put on and then cut and then put back on, and deadlines changed. And I think the market's just like it wants to go up, but it's just like it's getting it's like whack-a-mole. Every time there's some positivity, someone does something to screw it up.
Yeah.
Usually Trump.
Yeah, for me, I keep maintaining you got to look at the VIX. If the VIX collapses and it's back in the teens, that's when it's a signal that it's back on.
Yes,
but hasn't done that just yet. So keep an eye on it.
Are we seeing a change in the trend for the VIX?
Oh, it's already starting to fall. So
and it was a weird grinding upward rally for the VIX, which is odd.
Yeah, so the guys that I've hung out with bold traders before, they just like swear that VIX is the most mean reverting instrument out there. So it does tend to do that.
It's designed to do.
Yeah, it's designed to do that. But if it does collapse quite quickly and gets to those bottom levels again, within a few days, then I think the rally continues. But Trump's been quiet for a week or so I'm sure he'll come out with something.
It's been unnerving.
Yeah.
Although I'm stoked because it's just annoying. But yeah, and China's been eerily quiet too. Like Trump has poked the bear about 100 million times, and they've been just doing their own thing, which I think doesn't bode well for his tariff plan, because if they're calm about it, I think they've probably got a plan B, Donald. But yeah, so stocks this week. Mate, Rich, I'm going to let you lead off, and Telix is one, and I think you've been a long-term holder of that, yeah?
I have since pretty much the beginning. I had a few strong announcements towards the latter half of the week. Approval in Brazil, approval in America. Always bodes well for the stock.
Yeah.
New markets.
Price action's been great. Even on the down days, it seems to have found a way to be positive.
So I think it's still a bottom draw investment. Over time it's going to continue to grow.
Yeah, we're just adding on weakness, and sort of one of the only one. Where you've obviously focused on US stocks, but it's always good to when someone's a long-term holder of it and a believer. I always sort of it was when you started. It was like that was a good thing from my point of view. It was like because we'll make calm decisions about it. We've been in and out of it. Like I only ever get a little bit worried about people who are buying their first clip here. Like most of our clients have had it since around $8 or $9. We've taken it off for periods, but you get to that point where you're playing with house money, you can make better long-term decisions. But so I'm just easing in people who have never had it before at the top here. But everyone's got to have some, in my opinion, because I think it could be, I don't know. I don't want to call it the next CSL because my experience of CSL has been the most boring trade in history. But like I wasn't in equities when it went from $2 to $300. So it's one of those ones that I think everyone seems to say having similar characteristics to a long-term winner like that.
Yeah, well, the way that they were shoring up their own supply chains kind of just tells you that they're in it for. They're just going to plant their flag in that space, shore up the supply chains, and then just basically concentrate on distribution. So, big long-term play.
Yeah. So normally they just go to the big pharma companies and just sell their IP and cash out and do what Kai's doing today, just to take the yacht out. But that Gazellix, and I hate these pharmaceutical names. Their prostate cancer one. That's one of their new product line ones. Yeah. So they're realistically and they've at least got another one, if not two, I think, that are in the next 18 to 12 months in the pipeline again. So, and they are pretty good at communicating with the market too, but not in a bullshit, not in a step right up,
not in the hype way.
Yeah,
always like their announcement flow.
Yeah, it's always consistently decent news, and it's not like doesn't feel like they're pickpocketing you while they're trying to give you some good news. But what caught your eye, JT?
For me, was it Paladin? Bit of a storm in the Lange-Heinrich mines. So that shot it down 10%. But just in general, the uranium space has shown some life.
Yeah.
I write the commodities part each week, and basically, the most positive thing I had to say about uranium maybe for the last 3 weeks is that it's at least stopped falling. And then now this is the first week where it's bounced. But unfortunately, Paladin, which is actually the bluest of the blue chips,
it was an unseasonal rainy weather as well. So I didn't. Yeah, it's the first time I've seen unseasonal be the market sensitive word. Maybe for
so Paladin, and then and obviously for you, maybe Coles and Woolies.
Yeah, Coles and Woolies. Been asked about this over and over again for 6 months now, and it's actually rare. I got two things right this week. So it's actually the market's coming a little bit back to us now, but they had their ACCC dog and pony show. They gave the sound bites and the headlines, and then basically at the end of it, they mumbled under their breath, and there's nothing we can do about it. So now Woolies and Coles basically, it's like, well, you can't just have another ACCC inquiry next year.
Yeah.
So they will just they've stopped turning the screws on their suppliers and their customers, and now it's just
it'll be game on.
keep starting, start up again. So I would expect and they were never going to have good earnings realistically.
Mm-hmm.
And Amanda Barbell's only just taken over at Woolworths, and she did all that digital arm, which is like $8 billion market cap for that little digital arm alone. World leading apparently in customer engagement. I dare say, it was a pretty crappy reporting. However, that tends to be the case. You sort of air as much dirty laundry as you can,
mm-hmm.
And then get everything out of the way. But now they were never going to go, we're killing it before an ACCC inquiry. They're up 6% today. Woolies up 6%. I think Coles up 4%. And yeah, look, Woolies, it's a Gary. It's growth at a reasonable yield. And they just confirmed that their duopoly will continue unchecked for the next at least 5 years, I would imagine. Well, probably till the next election.
Exactly. So either way, just they're good stocks. Just get on board. I think.
Well, they're not going broke, are they?
Yeah, that's true.
And Austell as well. What happened in Austell this week?
So Austell, one of their largest shareholders bought and basically put in another stake. So it just backs their belief in the company.
Yep.
I
forget.
Hanwha.
Yeah, that's the one. So
Korean military.
Okay.
There you go.
So the right kind of Asians. So they're not allowed to do it to the Chinese. But sorry, the Australian government's got a history of being pretty selective on.
Was it approved to go through?
I just remember they increased their stake by another
9% or something.
Yeah. It was like $20 million from memory. So either way, Austell has been another one of the Aussie defence stocks that has been running.
On Drone Shield's doubled. Shield. Well, sorry, it halved. More than halved actually.
Yeah. Coden bounced as well, and I noticed EOS Space Lasers.
Space Lasers.
Started to bounce as well.
Space Lasers is my favourite nickname for a stock. They sell gold prices at record highs. They sell metal detectors, gold metal. Yeah. So like African communities and stuff. So they tend to sell more when the gold price is up. But so like let's have a look at the heat map. Obviously this week, Nvidia is up 1.2%. That is disappointing because Jensen did his normal show, and the announcement was awesome. Like so much better than Blackwell. I did. It's kind of really weird name, named after some female historical figure, female astrologer or something, Vera something or other. But the Blackwell can put together, I don't know, 72 of the Blackwell chips. This thing, they can stack this thing up to 500 and something chips together, and it works as one chip. So it's a fairly major improvement.
So basically, like you're saying that you can just add them all together, and each one acts like a one core something. On it.
It's like it's that old cartoon where anyway, I can't remember, but if you connect them, they act as one.
Uh-huh.
So essentially, the brute force power of that is he's making Moore's law, which is the computing law, look a little bit slow, to be brutally honest. But normally that's usually a 15 to 20% rally for Nvidia in the last 3 years. So 1% is a bit disappointing, I've got to say, because from a statistical point of view, to make that leap that quickly, because Blackwell took 18 months.
Uh-huh.
This is like Blackwell, and then Blackwell's only been out for 6 or so. This is like, and now we've
got
we've gone like 6 times, 8 times more. So, and everyone's like, meh. But
so that we could be at that stage. The what was the chart you had with the tech bubble? Who are you comparing? To?
Cisco.
Cisco.
Yeah.
So Cisco's earnings kept rising after everything collapsed, but the share price was just flat.
Yeah.
So Cisco's share price didn't collapse itself, but basically you just needed time for the valuation to make sense.
Yeah.
And that's could be what's happening here with Nvidia.
Yeah, I think Nvidia's got a
$3 trillion market cap.
Squeeze the PE ratio.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that sort of even though that is the mild move, that sticks out to me. Tesla's copping and beating. Rich, what's going? Like, obviously, everyone's hating on Elon.
Victim of the new government, I think.
Physically or
both?
Yeah.
A few firebombs thrown at the cars. Accenture as well, a little bit different. It's taken a beating from really Doge cost cutting. Government contracts being something it relies on heavily. Tesla, really just an impact of Elon being involved in the Trump administration. People not liking,
Everyone's hating on Elon, basically. They're trying to, if it was Musk Motors, I think they would be changing the name. They're trying to distance themselves from him, I think, a little bit at the minute.
As we spoke about earlier in the week, I still think long term the cars are still going to be very valued.
Yeah.
But at the moment, probably going to see further red.
But it's just all these stories coming out now. Oh, you can't get them repaired. It's like, well, generally they don't need repairing because there's about 8 moving parts in them. But it's a real sentiment. Like the mob has turned on Elon. And what else has caught your eye this week apart from that?
Defence stocks, of course, with a European focus. So we were looking here at Base Systems and Rolls-Royce this week, both in the London Exchange. I think they're going to benefit really strongly from any increased spending, military-wise globally.
Yeah.
They've got a 40% exposure to the US. So if the US does any expenditure, they're going to benefit, but the rest of their business being Europe and Australia. So
I can't remember the name of the system that Base Systems has got, but basically it's like the GPS tracking system of, like, say, your allies. So you don't obviously send a bomb or a missile.
Uh-huh.
You're not the victim of friendly fire.
Yeah, because that's actually a big thing.
Oh, it's a huge thing. Yeah. I think there's a lot more people got done for friendly fire in Afghanistan than were actually killed by the Taliban. Don't quote me on that. That was just me. But
Canada's very reliant on them as well.
Yeah.
They're getting a squeeze from the US at the moment too. They just announced a not confirmed but potential $6 billion contract with Australia to buy our radar system, which Bay's actually the manager for at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they're going to be part of the installation.
You've got to have this system. Like, so if you're going to go to war with America and do combat with them, they just say you've got this or you're not allowed to join. So most of them are reluctant to join anyway, but they've got to spend that money. So it's a great, talk about a sticky customer.
Absolutely.
Like every government in the world that's an ally of the US, that's a pretty good base. So
and it's good because if you think about it, so Doge is trying to go through the Pentagon now. So they'll be cutting defense spending there. So Europe's going to have to pick up the slack. And obviously Trump said, "Oh well, you guys defend yourself now." So.
Absolutely.
That's a thematic.
He may have reversed that and then said it again after, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because it depends on what newsfeed. Anyway, it's been good. It's been good that we don't have to do Trump Watch this week, and that he's shut his mouth because it's becoming just garbage. And then really everything else is kind of up quite nicely. It's a bit of a bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Meta was down. I don't really know what was going on too much there. I think it was probably one of the better performers the previous week. Costco's still falling, JT. Our what we think should be in the Mag 7.
Well,
the 8th Magnificent 7.
Yeah, exactly. I was saying that it should be there, and my main reason that from what I read, basically the employees love it, the shareholders love it, and the actual customers.
Well, and until recently, so did the technical analysts.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's the first downtrend it's had in about a decade.
That should just be in line with consumer spending in the US.
Yeah, I think it's consumer sentiment. But I mean, if people are tightening their belts, wouldn't you go to Costco more? Like,
maybe just the ancillary things, the extras they're not getting.
Or maybe the reason they're so cheap is because they're importing and the tariffs are going to affect them a lot. Who knows? I to be honest, we're happy to own it long term. I think it's very close, if not in the buy zone. It's one of our high conviction picks, and and the high conviction picks are 5 year plus, long term picks. So it's this period where there is a lot of noise and a lot of volatility and stocks are falling is that's kind of the best time for us with this, because it helps us form a plan to buy on the way down, and we end up with quality at a decent price instead of buying quality at ridiculous PEs and having to wear pain. Like we were talking about with Telix before, like if you buy the top and then the market pulls back now, you might get spooked out at $20 in Telix. Like, but if you've got some from ages ago, you're like, whatever. You don't really care, right? So, it'd be. I don't think this is over yet. I just think it's just going to be what you brought the kangaroo rally. It'll just be up and down for a bit. And then it'll either stay up or it'll stay down.
I guess the main difference this time is that on that massive move up, every time we've had a dip, it's just been so quickly bought up that like it's almost instantly forgotten. This one's first time where we've had a bounce and then we haven't had a bounce. We've had a bounce, we haven't had a bounce. So this is the first time we've seen some indecision from the market.
Well, that's been the popular question this week. I mean, I've done a bit of written media, and it's like, is it buy the dip or is? And I'm just like, well, sure, I don't know. Like that's the whole point. Like it's I think at this stage, I think it's a fool's errand to try and be a hero in this market and pick a direction. Just be in cash. Like, if it's going to go on another run, you can get in when the smoke's cleared. But if it's going to get hit, the joy of being cashed up and going shopping and getting bargains is unbelievable. So, like, we've had the best 2 year run since the 90s. Well, it's not going to kill everyone to like sit in their hands for a couple of weeks, or a couple of months.
And the people that can't sit on their hands, it's got to be small bites.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, the dollar average thing's the best way, and that's the best way because a lot of clients will ring up and they'll be the opinion of buying the dip, and it's like, well, I'm not going to say no because I could be wrong. But just little bits at a time, and you'll end up. Even our index product is like the entry we've changed to a 3 month average over the next 3 months. I reckon that'll end up being probably one of the better entries you'll get in hindsight. But I mean, I've been wrong before. But yeah, commodities, mate. What
caught my eye? So obviously gold, silver, copper all rallied this week. But copper was actually the one that's been the strongest.
And but it's strong every night. Like gold, even when gold's dipped and silver's dipped, it hasn't. It's been pretty good.
Yeah, so we're at the 2024 highs on copper now.
Which are the records.
Yeah, so that it just depends on, I look at the spot market chart, so it might not have been.
It made a record in second month futures.
Okay, so we're splitting hairs here. But just generally, like what you need though, with the way it pulled back from this level last time, you do need it to continue. Because like if there's a pause here, we could see a decent sized pullback as well. So.
There's been some very generous folk who have been tagging me on Twitter. They're also the people that tagged me when it was at the lows. So it's nice that they were good enough to tag it, and I'm the least convinced about it. I've been here like 3 or 4 times in the last 3 years. I just call me when it's 550. Because when it's 550, it's going to $7.
Yeah.
So, but until then, and the same with silver. Like it got there really quick this week, and it floundered at the highs. And I don't look. I think it might have ended up down slightly for the week. It did. So, and then that's lithium and uranium on the side there, and Bitcoin. Just they're coming off getting absolutely belted. Yeah. So like. I'd probably ignore that as a 5-day change. That's just very selective. They were out there.
Well, that's what I actually wrote. So uranium for the last few weeks is basically all I could type was, at least it's stopped falling. That's about it. But then we've seen a bounce, and because I do scans and watch new highs every day. The uranium names all popped up this week, and I just said, should I start popping that in? And like even the dogs like Lotus and Deep Yellow, like the ones that aren't even in production yet, they all bounced as well. So I'm like, okay, we might have the start of a uranium rally here. Oil was interesting. I thought it would just like keep heading lower, but some more Middle East tensions again. Iron ore,
The Houthis are back.
yeah, exactly.
Always good for the oil price.
That's it.
Yeah, no, they sunk. But wasn't the story they sunk an Iranian ship?
Yeah, exactly. So
They talk about friendly fire.
yeah, iron ore flat to lower. Bitcoin's been
So
interesting.
it depends on what you read. The AFR has got it
Collapsing.
getting destroyed. But they're roughly down a couple of percent, I think.
Yeah.
It might be down 3. So
And so in crypto land, basically all the altcoins have fallen more than Bitcoin, except for Ripple. So Ripple's the one that's just holding in there. So that one makes no sense to me. But hey, like if you follow the price, I mean, I trade a lot of dog shit stocks. So,
it sounds like from what I've heard, it's the large money launderers crypto of choice. So that's probably why it's hanging in there. So
there you go. There's the use case.
Yeah, no, there's apparently a lot of transactions going on in certain shadowy areas of the world. I don't, but it's crypto, so you know what? There's no real research on it, so no one knows.
Exactly.
And I can't be shot down for defamation because they can't prove it either way.
That's it. And last one was the US dollar. Pretty flat. Like it's been 2 weeks between 103.5, 104. So I would just kind of wait to see. I'm favouring a US dollar break down lower, but look, if there's some sort of Trump news that makes the dollar spike and equities lower, that makes sense as well. So I'm kind of just on the fence here. I guess it's kind of like the whole market. Like, we've had a massive fall over the last few weeks. We're now trying to stabilize here, and now it's kind of like a wait and see. Is this rally real, or has it got?
Yeah, I thought there'd be a sucker.
Or is it a what do you call it? Dead cat.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a sucker rally this week, and it's not strong enough for a sucker rally.
Mm-hmm.
Like it hasn't lured anyone in. I think you're right. Like this is the most amount of fence sitting I've seen in the market for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, since the COVID drop, right? It was like we've either definitively been going up or we're going down. Like, and at the moment, everyone's like, I genuinely just don't know. It's a bit of a weird place to be, and I think that'll grind people into being impatient at some stage and making mistakes. So I think we're still prone to that sucker rally. If it rallies next week, I reckon it'll suck a load of people in, and then that'll be what triggers the next down run. But who knows? Again, it's pretty hard. Like Fed this week.
So what happened?
They basically said they maintained 2 cuts
for the market.
It was good for the market initially, but I mean the fact that the US dollar
was that a hawkish hold?
It wasn't even hawk.
It was a dovish hold, was it?
It was like if a hawk and a dove had a baby. Like it was so wishy-washy, and there was so many what ifs around it. So the market was like, they did their normal thing and went. They just saw 2 cuts, and rallied, and then and I really expected it to kick on last night, and it ran out of steam. Super, like European session had run out of steam, and the futures were up points, more than 0.5%, maybe even 1% during our session yesterday, and then I was going to bed, and it was already down, and I couldn't find a news story behind it, and there wasn't one basically. I was super surprised that they, but it's I think patience is going to be a really key tactic in the next bit. But Jen, no one was talking about it prior, really, to be honest. I got out on the Wednesday. I'd forgotten that the FOMC was on, and they ambushed me with a question on rates, and I'm like, well, and some of the analysts are actually saying now that the Fed, well, they're saying that basically they're not the controlling body of interest rates. So, I didn't think they didn't put their jukes up at all and stamp their authority at all. It was a bit meh. Now we're obviously trade of the week. So obviously Rich has been talking about and you like Lockheed Martin as well,
I like defence in general.
Yeah, defence in general. So we've had a fair bit of chat about that in the office lately. our ETF Elite portfolio bought some Defend at the investment committee at the start of the month, up about 6 or 7%, I think, already.
Nicely done.
But with Richard's guidance, essentially, we chose the one with the most European exposure, and I think the US exposure primarily is Lockheed anyway. So that was a pretty good one actually, and it was a really nice and then the news has come after that that's actually pushed it up. So. So
just in general, so Defend is an ETF. So obviously we use ETF Elite. We have ETFs within there. Part of the portfolio is core. So we use that with some fixed interest and a smart leverage or smart beta.
Yep.
And that allows us to have some extra firepower on the side to then pick out a few thematics. And that's how we get our outperformance. So one of the ones we've chosen is Defend. Obviously, we like the defense thematic, so this is one that we just want. We think we'll get some outperformance on the index through there.
It's a simple portfolio that's designed to outperform the index after fees. That's the very important thing. We don't do what everyone else does and quote before 75%.
Exactly. So if you're looking for single stock exposure and a bit of expertise, give Rich a call. He can help you out with a few London names that
global names generally.
And we have obviously access to that.
Well, but this thing's beating the index by 2% plus in the first 3 months. So, and that's what it's designed to do. Just chip away. It's great for anyone who's got a compounding portfolio. If you can get, we're aiming around about that 5 odd % plus outperformance after fees. You compound that over 10 years, it's a big difference. So it's kind of aimed at the.
I think it's good for investors as well. You don't have to pick any particular stock that you like.
That stresses people out sometimes. Some people love it, but some people they don't love it at all, particularly at the moment when the market's
exactly.
Everyone
might buy the one that's going to be coming off, so you're kind of buying the best of defense, and you're going to yield the results from that.
Yeah. So we've essentially designed it to be pretty low maintenance and low fees and help people get ahead.
Yeah. And I think one of these things maybe an idea that we might need to backtest in the future is that how ETFs work is that it's a popularity contest. Like if there's an actual thematic that the ETF providers think will actually get some funds under management, they then put out that ETF. So I would actually like to test upon listing because there's been a few times where I've seen sort of some thematics come in. It's like
the thematic ETFs. Pretty much it is, they get about maybe uranium, the Bitcoin, the ones I've seen, by the time they get the ETF up, it is about a month before the thematic's over and it nosedives.
Yeah, so that's my point. So this one,
this one was originated when Ukraine started, and then
obviously this is a who lists this one?
It's Van Eck. So
Okay, so obviously Van Eck's got the American one. This is just the.
It'd just be a copy of it. There's only So that's where the thematic ones are. Yeah, they're very patchy.
Yeah, so I just remembered when weed was a thing. So obviously all the marijuana stocks are running. Weed ETF comes out, and then that's pretty much signals as well.
It is a bit of a ring the bell thing, and that's not their fault. They've got to have some sort of sustained rally and etc. But the
thing is just from an ETF provider perspective, all they're trying to do is just capture more funds and if there's a hot topic, if something's clickbaity, that's all they're doing. They're just providing a channel for people to express their view. And I'm just I think it's usually a good timing sign that this one thematic could be reaching the top.
And what people got to realise is, ETFs. It's not it's not a specialised investment. They're just designed to be dragged up by the index, basically. So you'll never get outperformance unless you do at least be a little bit active, or you use something like our Index Pro or whatever, which locks in some downside protection and things. So
it's all about the smart beta. That's what Kai's all about. Smart beta.
Well, mate, that's why he's out in the yacht so much. I've got to give that big brain a rest every now and then. And I get a headache. It's too complicated for me sometimes. But Yeah, no, we expect this one to keep going, really. But I would say, man, we've still got gold, silver we've still got silver in that ETF. But and I do like that polymetals. It's been rallying that you wrecked recently. You've been on fire. The Gorilla Gold did well. The polymetals, you've hit half price target and the alpha as well. We've got another gold stock today. If you want to have a look at,
it's nice when the market makes you look good. It doesn't happen all the time.
No. I'm enjoying my first 2 months in about a year. So, but it has been nice that it has sort of come around. And even I think we had Steadfast. It's recovered back to it's nearly making 6 months high again. Woolworths was one. So a lot of the high conviction ones. Clarity's still a bit of a disaster at this stage, but it's a 2 to 3 year trade realistically. And Telix has been twice. So there's a few that are now that it's not just passive money pushing the market up, and people have been forced to go looking for value. A lot of our current names and some of the previous trades of the week have started to head back up.
Yeah. So I guess now there's other people doing bargain hunting, not just us.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's thank God. So I always describe it to my traders when I had the prop shop was in a pack of gazelle, you don't want to be the one at the front or the one at the back. You want to be on that, want to be that one that's just like in the second or third row.
Yeah.
Because the lion's only going to pick off the ones at the front of the. So, and that's sort of the same as markets. If you buy something that's cheap and no one knows about it, it's not going to rally.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And if you're the last to get on the thematic, like the ETF providers, you're going to get picked off. Yeah. So, tied that in quite well.
So, are you bullish or bearish for? So, I think we were both bullish last week.
We were.
Yeah.
I think we're 3 from 3
in a row. Like last
in a row.
Okay, there you go.
That could be 60 episodes. That could be the first hat trick.
So for next week, are you bullish or bearish?
I think there is going to be a continuation of building up for the sucker rally sort of thing. So I think everything's, as long as Trump doesn't say something stupid or a war doesn't kick off, I think the default is always up generally for indices. Yep. There's no earnings yet, and the earnings is coming up. I think we probably put it on another few percent next week, and then it probably gathers steam towards the end of the week because we've got no economic numbers next week either.
Okay,
because it's the third week of the month, always the crappiest week. So there's no. I think we probably grind higher, and then it'll gather momentum towards the end of the week as people go, oh, it was by the dip. Quick, I've got to get on. So I'm going to go bullish.
Okay. Well, my short answer, bullish.
Bullish as always.
As always. Okay, there we go. Three bulls for next week.
Look, I'm always taking sort of the longer term.
Yeah, I know. We're talking for the week.
For the week.
Yeah.
Probably going to see the kangaroo market continue.
Yeah, I reckon. I think you're probably the most right out of all of us.
Okay, so might finish slightly up.
2 bulls and a kangaroo.
2 bulls and a kangaroo. Well, maybe you can be kangaroo.
I was too bullish last week, so I sort of scared myself into.
Well, I as well, like US market, it's a lot more fun to be bullish in the US market than it is the Aussie. I mean,
yeah.
You can get a good earnings announcement in Australia, and your stock takes a hit. And fear and greed as well. Sorry, we're at 22, so it was at 17 last week. A year ago, 1 year ago, it was in greed. Nothing's really changed in the indicators; they've just slightly improved. I think it's been a quiet week, and it'll probably just continue to be a quiet week next week. But right. I think, mate, well done. Thank you for joining us.
You sat through a whole episode. Nice one.
Absolutely. Indeed. And we'll have you on regularly, and you'll get a spot on in the media soon as well. I'll chuck you on the call or something. Cut your teeth
to start off with. Yeah.
Yeah, just to start.
Short
notice. So we are doing the US edition of the call on the 31st of this month, which is Monday week. So there'll be Rich's commentary delivered by me in the first bit, but sort of get you
collaborative effort.
But I mean, let's face it. far more expertise than me in that area. I'll just call a spade a spade. So, and yeah, we'll ease into it that way. But it should be an interesting show. There's a few stocks there from the viewers that I hadn't heard of before, so we'll have to do a bit of research on those.
There you
Maybe
go.
we'll find
Always
them.
like that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good because it makes you do research on stuff we wouldn't have found polymetals.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's been a heap of them. So, yeah. But look, stay safe out there. Stay patient. Keep planning. Make sure you've got a plan around your portfolio and don't panic. And we'll chat next week, yeah?
Yeah, nice. All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks.